and then a fourth of lean protein, chicken, turkey, things like that, and then 1 cup of dairy per day too. So that's just the basics. I'm sure you guys already know that. So yeah. Okay, so I thought I would start off by just talking a little bit about simple, maybe not so simple ways that you can just stay on track. And one thing that's really, really important is to assess your hunger cues. So knowing when you are hungry and eating when you're hungry and not because you're bored, and drinking water when you're thirsty and not eating when you're thirsty, because sometimes that goes a little hand in hand, just eating when you're thirsty, but really you need to be drinking water. And listening to your body, like if you are hungry, then eat, and don't starve yourself just because you're trying to be healthy or because you're trying to lose weight. And when you are hungry, genuinely eat food, And then portion control, I thought I would talk about that a little bit later. But that's just a simple way. And then knowing how your body feels whenever you're hungry versus you're thirsty. I've already kind of mentioned that, rather than you're bored. Yeah. So these are ways that I have been taught and ways that I live. When I first wake up, the first thing that I do is drink water. I have my hydro flask in hand, and I always drink a full 32 ounces just to start the day. Because whenever you're sleeping, your body is, not you're obviously not drinking water while you're asleep. So when you wake up, your body's already dehydrated. So without taking a few sips of water to start your day, you can just kind of feel sluggish throughout the day, and you just and then also protein, ensuring that you have enough protein in the morning. So eggs, a protein bar, maybe like a chicken egg sandwich, something like that. Protein is just a really, really good source to have in the morning to jumpstart your metabolism, and that's going to keep you fuller throughout the day. It'll ensure that your blood sugar doesn't crash throughout the day. And if you're not eating whenever you first get up, then you're kind of just setting yourself up because you're going to be starving, by 1:32 or whenever you take lunch. So having something first thing in the morning full of protein and healthy fats. Healthy fats is just avocado, almonds, eggs, all have really, really good healthy fats that's going to keep you full and really jumpstart your day. And then I just included some tips and tricks, some random tips and tricks. So as I've kind of already mentioned, drinking lots of water. So I've always been taught that you should be drinking at least half of your body weight in fluid ounces each day. Like I said, I always have my hydro flask in hand. So even when I'm just sitting around doing nothing, I'm always trying to sip on water to make sure that I'm, first of all, hydrated. That's most important, and maintaining those electrolytes in my body. But also, making sure that I'm not going to be mindlessly snacking just because I think that I'm hungry when I'm actually just thirsty. Another tip that I had was to cut up your fruits and vegetables right after you buy them, and have them ready and on hand whenever you're hungry. So whenever I go to the grocery store and I buy, for example, strawberries, I will not eat the strawberries out of the container unless they're cut up. So as soon as I get home, I just cut up my strawberries, put them in another container so that whenever I'm feeling snacky, feeling hungry, that those will be ready to go as soon as I get hungry, and I can just reach in and grab them. So that, and then also prepping vegetables like baby carrots, putting those maybe in a different container than what the packaging is in, just to make your mind think that, hey, I've already started eating these when you actually haven't, so that you will continue to eat them. Yeah, so that's just a really good tip that I like to have too. And also that works well whenever you're making your foods too. So like if, for example, if you're making a salad, then you'll have, some already freshly chopped up vegetables ready to go. Or if you're making a granola bowl, then you'll have some, or not a granola bowl, a yogurt bowl, then you'll have some fruit already cut up and ready to go and put into your this is also a super, super good tip because your mind can play all kinds of tricks on you. So usually when I'm at home or in my apartment back in Boone, then I'm always sipping water out of a glass jar, just like a normal glass jar, because the more that you look at your water and see how much you drink, the more that you're going to want to drink it. So if I'm looking at this, I can feel how much is in there, but I can't see how much is in there. So drinking in a glass jar will just kind of encourage you to, oh, hey, I haven't drank as much as I should. I'll just drink more because I can see it. I also like to drink my water out of a straw. That encourages me just to keep sipping rather than, like having to pick it up and turn it up. And also adding lemon or lime or water flavoring, pretty much just adding anything, to kind of help you, encourage you to drink more water and stay hydrated. So whenever you do feel the urge to grab a snack, I would say to try to select foods that are natural and whole, that are full of nutrients, healthy fats, and protein. And this is a lot easier said than done. I know that. I don't always do that. But I just thought I would include some examples. Apple slices and a tablespoon of peanut butter. I always have apples. They're very, very easy to grab. 1 cup of grapes and a handful of almonds. And you can kind of mix up your nuts too. So I like to buy, I think the brand is just like Diamond. But they have like salt and vinegar almonds, and they have wasabi almonds. So I like to get that kind of stuff to make, eating nuts a little bit more fun and not boring. And then a smoothie with fruit, and maybe adding a scoop of protein powder, to stabilize that blood sugar, and a tablespoon of nut butter, Greek non-fat yogurt with berries, like I kind of already said, and then some protein bars. And I thought I would include a little bit, or some examples of protein bars, just because I know it can be kind of overwhelming of which options to choose. But Pine bars, Quest bars, and RX bars are some of the healthiest protein bars, just because the Kind bars and the RX bars are more like whole. They have whole ingredients, and they're not just a whole bunch of chemicals. The Quest bars kind of have a lot more chemicals, but they don't have as much sugar as other protein bars like Special K. Special K protein bars have a ridiculous amount of sugar. So I just thought I would include these for better options. Another tip is before you decide on what you're going to eat, before selecting a snack, ask yourself how this is going to make you feel in 30 minutes. So if I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have a bag of potato chips, I'm going to think, in 30 minutes, am I going to be hungry? Am I going to be full? Am I going to feel sluggish? Am I going to feel energized? How am I going to feel after the 30 minutes of eating, or, that amount of time has passed. So selecting an option that's probably going to keep you fuller, probably going to give you more energy, and just slowing down and, like assessing things like that, and not just being quick to grab things just because you're hungry and you're, scavenging for food. And then kind of like I've already mentioned at the beginning, portioning out your food before you eat it to avoid mindless snacking. And this is something that I struggle with. My portion control is off the roof sometimes. But yeah, just like if you have a bag of chips, maybe counting out the chips and then tying the bag of chips back up and putting them back in the cabinet so that you're only eating that instead of mindlessly snacking and just eating like ridiculous amounts of chips. As I said, I have portion control issues myself. So instead of eating a whole sleeve of Oreos, just pick out 2 or 3 Oreos and set them to the side, and then put the Oreos back in the cabinet. That's a really, really good way just to, make sure that you are kind of tasting the food and not just eating the food, and also not grabbing for more just because you think you're hungry. And I thought I would include some health myths that are kind of in social media or people just talk about. So the first myth is there are bad fruits. Some people say that bananas have a ton of sugar and you shouldn't eat bananas, or oranges have lots of sugar, you shouldn't eat oranges. But that's not true. These are the kind of fruits, or these are the kind of foods that have the good sugar. This is the sugar that's going to metabolize well in your body, rather than being other sugars like cookies that's not going to metabolize well. Like I would much rather you choose an orange than 6 Oreos. Like there are no bad fruits. The second myth is you must drastically cut down on your calories and exercise for hours. That's also absolutely not true. Just maintaining healthier choices and making balanced decisions rather than starving yourself, because that's not maintainable and you're probably just gonna gain weight. And you don't have to exercise for hours. I'll talk a little bit about exercise in the next slides to come, but yeah, you don't have to do that. Just be balanced and eat when you're hungry, and know your own hunger cues. Another myth is it's bad to eat before bedtime, which also isn't true. A lot of people say that if you eat before you go to bed, you're going to gain a bunch of weight. That's not true. So typically, I think the thought from this comes from, like we typically eat as much as we need during the day. And by the end of the day, by bedtime, we probably shouldn't need more calories. But if you've had a crazy busy day and you've been running around and you've been at work and you've been taking kids to ball games or whatever, and it becomes nighttime and you've eaten, breakfast, you very much should eat. It's just kind of knowing like how much you've eaten, and like I said, like I keep saying, your hunger cues, and just making the decisions based on your lifestyle. It's all about a lifestyle and like knowing what works for you. And another myth is you can't eat any of your favorite foods when you're trying to eat healthier. So I love Oreos. I had 3 Oreos last night. That's totally fine. So like I've kind of already said, just living a balanced lifestyle where maybe you shouldn't eat Oreos for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but choosing healthier options and then allowing yourself or giving yourself grace for it to be okay to eat what you want. If you totally restrict and don't eat what you want, you're just going to feel like you can't have it. So when you do have it, you're going to feel guilty. And we don't want that. So, yeah. And then you can next slide. And then I thought this was a good slide to put in here because eating healthier, can be expensive. Buying fresh vegetables is kind of expensive. And so buying frozen vegetables and fruit is a totally perfect way to choose healthier options. Vegetables are steamable. You could put them into crock pot meals. I love to make smoothies. I also eat mango, like frozen mango, as a sweet treat whenever I, have a little sweet tooth. And it tastes just like a popsicle. So that's always good. And then canned vegetables and fruit are also very nutritious too. The only thing with canned vegetables and fruit is the amount of sugar that could be added into fruit. So, making sure you're choosing the lower sugar or no sugar added to the fruit. And lower sodium in canned vegetables. Typically, it's not that big of an issue, but if you have, heart problems, then you don't want to add any more sodium into your diet than, you should. And then another budgety idea is knowing fresh meat deals at your local grocery store. So I know that at Harris Teeter, I use my VIC card and I can get fresh meat pretty cheap. So if I don't have time if I'm rushing around, I just got home from class and I don't have time to thaw out a piece of chicken, I can just run over to Harris Teeter, use my VIC card, and get plenty of chicken for a lot cheaper than buying fresh chicken from the grocery store. Yeah. And shopping local is a really good way to make healthier choices. I'm not sure how farmers markets work now with everything going on. But we went to one this morning and it was really great. Everybody was maintaining everything that needed to be done. But farmers markets have fresh products. Most of them are free of pesticide use. A lot of them are organic, and they tend to have healthier snacking options, like lower sugar granola, because granola can be very high in sugar, and then some different kind of snacks. More of like the homemade, healthier options. And then starting your own garden is also a really, really good idea to make healthier choices. My dad, he makes he has a huge garden every single summer. So we have zucchini and squash and green beans and kale and lettuce and beets and all kinds of things. Yeah, that's just things that are going to be on hand that you don't have to run to the grocery store and get. So that's really, really good, and that's also a good way to be outside and be with your family and just support local businesses. And then I thought I would include a couple of recipes. So this is a recipe that I make every single week. Sweet potatoes. It kind of sounds a little bland, but it's so, so good. I keep these in the refrigerator. I add them, or I make them for breakfast and like an egg scramble omelet with onions and sweet potato, egg, peppers, all kinds of things. For lunch, dinner, snacks. They're just very, very versatile. I love them. So you use about 2 to 3 sweet potatoes, olive oil, garlic, salt, pepper, rosemary. You just cut it all up. And this is the hardest part. You're going to get your exercise in cutting them sweet potatoes because they are hard to cut. And then coat the potatoes and your spices in oil and roast them for 30 minutes at 450 degrees, and they're perfect. If you let them get a little bit brown and crispy, then they're even better. And then I thought I would share a little sweet treat that I make pretty often. So I just call it a healthy hot chocolate, or healthy chocolate milk, or hot chocolate if you just pop it in the microwave. So it's 1 rounded teaspoon of cacao or cocoa powder. The only difference between the two is cacao is more concentrated of like the bean, the cacao bean, and then cocoa is just more processed, and usually it's just by Hershey. And then you can use any kind of milk. I typically use unsweetened vanilla almond milk just for taste preferences. But you can use, real milk, cow milk, or cashew milk, or whatever. So I use 1.5 cups of that and 2 teaspoons of honey. And then sometimes I like to add unflavored collagen protein, just 1 scoop, just to add some protein if I'm having it maybe for breakfast. And I typically blend mine in the blender, but you absolutely don't have to. You can just stir it up with a spoon or whisk. So that's a very, very good way to make healthier options. If you're feeling you have a little sweet tooth. And then some exercise tips. So my nutrition counseling professor in the last fall, she always told us that the best type of exercise is the one that you enjoy and will keep doing. So if you hate running, you're not going to keep running because you don't enjoy it. If you hate lifting weights, you're not going to keep lifting weights because you hate it. The ones that you enjoy are the ones that you're going to keep doing. Don't overcomplicate it. Like I've already said, if you love it, you'll keep doing it. And exercise absolutely doesn't have to be at the gym. I have been home for the past 3 months, 4 months, however long it's been. And I've been, working out outside. I've been working out in my living room. I've been going on runs. You don't have to be at the gym. Anything to move your body is exercising. So hiking, kayaking, canoeing, gardening. You do you. The options are endless. And if you, I don't know. The options are endless. There's no telling. If you have a dog, that's a really good way to, get some exercise, take your dog for a walk. So yeah, basically anything. And then some takeaways, kind of, like general things that we talked about is being healthy doesn't mean eating vegetables and drinking water. I get sick of drinking water and eating vegetables all the time. So it's all about, a balanced lifestyle for you and what works for you. And knowing your hunger cues, eating when you're hungry and not eating when you're bored. And then eat and exercise in a way that makes you feel good. We're given a lot of responsibilities in this life, work, kids, anything, but our bodies are one of the biggest ones of all. If you don't take care of yourself, then there's going to be nothing to take care of.